So in the interest of time, we're going to try to go a little bit faster, and I'm going to try to now ask Dominic a little bit. Dominic, you make tools. So you are more familiar maybe than a lot of us with the kinds of tools we've been talking about. Was I describing them correctly first? The ChatGPT tool is more like the generic tool, and then you can build things upon those technologies that are more specific. And are those AI co-pilots, like David mentioned from Pareto, are they the kinds of tools that you see as important moving forward? And then tell us a little bit about the kind of tool that you've developed as well.
Okay, good point. Well, I think this sort of calling them co-pilots or maybe sidekick is a very nice description of that. And David, as you described, they really show their power once they are connected to the knowledge you have, to your existing content. Because I imagine all of you have dabbled with ChatGPT, of course, but then with ChatGPT, it's always going there, starting a brand new chat, copying and pasting all the source materials you have, and then typing in your prompts over and over. Or maybe you have a Google Doc or a spreadsheet where you've stored some of those snippets, like a style guide, that you would go to, copy them, paste them back to ChatGPT. So it's very tedious because it's disconnected. So this is where these specialized sort of AI apps come into place, like Promptitude.io, the one we've built. And the original idea was just reusability, right? So you go to ChatGPT, you build out your prompt, and the more you do that, you realize, hey, this needs fine-tuning. This needs one more instruction to actually work how I expect it to work, right? So what prompt management tools like Promptitude do is they allow you to create reusable prompts that you build once, you fine-tune them, but then you would share them with the entire team. And there's like three big advantages over using vanilla tools like ChatGPT. Number one is, of course, security, right? So whatever you upload to the free version of ChatGPT might become public at some point in the future. And of course, that's not what we want. Number two is consistency, right? Imagine you just invite everyone on your team to use ChatGPT. Well, how do you make sure that the style guide is always applied, or that people don't use different instructions for that? But the last and most important aspect actually is that connection to your own knowledge, your documentation, either the public one or even the private documentation. How do you rope that in? And let me tell you one example. I'm going to tell you a quick story as well from our own technical documentation, which I think is really sort of eye-opening. So we recently launched a new feature, which Lance, you might actually find that very, very helpful, which is prompt snippets. You can sort of decompose a large prompt into smaller fragments that you would even reuse across several prompts, which is, as I know you technical writers work, which is nothing else than a CCMS system, right? You decompose, you reuse, and you want to do the very same thing with prompts. Okay, so my writing team, of course, set up the help article describing in a lot of detail how to create a snippet, how to put the snippet into your prompt, etc. And then that got published to people. And we realized nobody understood why they should actually do that. There was a fantastic how-to article with screenshots, instructions, and everything. But what we as a provider, what we want is if we do our tech docs, hey, we want people to actually use those tools. And that's why they need motivating, they need the why. And now I'm coming to how we can actually solve for that. There is actually a treasure trove of information we all have, which might be the Jira tickets or the support tickets you have in your company. There might be email communication with users. There might be support forums where people post. Now imagine you could put all of that information into that knowledge base that is connected to your AI sidekick. So the AI thingy that you use actually has the knowledge of all of that. And now, the writer doing that help article could actually ask that chat interface, hey, regarding a feature of prompt snippets, what questions have people asked around that topic? So you can sort of tap into your users' brains to surface their actual questions, their actual motivations, and use that to inform your own writing and say, hey, let's add hey, why should I use that section at the start? And you have specific input from your actual user.
Excellent advice. Thank you for sharing that. Sorry to cut you off there. In the interest of time, I want to say I wrote a blog post about this, and I was discussing that fact that we lack intent-based content in our data repository. So putting your documentation inside of an LLM is great for querying, but you're only going to get answers of how do I. You won't get answers on What happens if I don't do this? What if I want to do this? Why should I want to do this? Why should I not want to do that? And those are the questions that people stumble across, right? So that's a great tip right there. So thank you very much for that, Dominic. Jason.